Most people believe that if they avoid desserts and sugary snacks, their blood sugar is probably under control. They think the real danger comes from candy, soda, or obvious sweets. Here's what nobody tells you. One of the biggest blood sugar mistakes often happens before 9 a.m. In fact, I've seen countless patients start their day with what they believed was a healthy breakfast, only to experience blood sugar spikes that affected their energy, appetite, focus, and health for the rest of the day. The uncomfortable truth is that some breakfast choices can set off a chain reaction inside your body long before lunch arrives. No warning, no obvious symptoms, just a gradual roller coaster of rising and falling blood sugar that many people never connect to their morning meal. If you're over 60 and want to protect your health, maintain your independence, and support healthy aging, this may be one of the most important conversations you'll hear all year. My name is Dr. Michael Anderson. I'm an internal medicine physician, and for more than 25 years I've cared for patients managing diabetes, prediabetes, heart disease, and other chronic health conditions. Throughout those years, I've noticed a pattern. Many people focus heavily on what they eat at dinner while paying surprisingly little attention to breakfast. Yet breakfast often determines how the body responds for the next several hours. I've seen patients make a few simple adjustments to their morning routine and experience remarkable improvements in their blood sugar control, energy levels, and overall well-being. That's why today's topic matters so much. Before we discuss the breakfast mistake itself, let's understand how blood sugar works. Imagine your body is a car. Glucose, or blood sugar, is the fuel. Your cells need that fuel to function properly. But fuel alone isn't enough. You also need a key to unlock the engine. In the body, that key is insulin. Insulin helps move glucose from the bloodstream into the cells where it can be used for energy. When this system works efficiently, blood sugar remains relatively stable. But when large amounts of fast-digesting carbohydrates enter the bloodstream all at once, the body may struggle to keep up. Blood sugar rises quickly. Insulin surges. Then, sometimes, blood sugar falls rapidly afterward. This cycle can affect energy, hunger, concentration, and long-term health. Now let's talk about the breakfast mistake I see most often: eating a breakfast that is almost entirely made of refined carbohydrates while containing very little protein, fiber, or healthy fat. This includes meals such as sugary cereals, sweet pastries, white toast with jam, sweetened coffee drinks, or large servings of fruit juice paired with little else. Many people choose these foods because they are convenient, familiar, and often marketed as breakfast staples. Some even believe they're making a healthy choice. After all, cereal has been promoted as a breakfast food for decades. Fruit juice comes from fruit. Toast seems harmless. The positive perception makes perfect sense. But here's where things become interesting. What happens inside the body can be very different from what happens in the advertisements. Refined carbohydrates are broken down quickly. The glucose enters the bloodstream rapidly. Blood sugar rises. The pancreas responds by releasing insulin. In many adults, especially those over 60, insulin may not work as efficiently as it once did. As a result, blood sugar can remain elevated longer than expected or fluctuate dramatically throughout the morning. I remember a patient named Robert, a retired engineer in his late 60s. He came to see me because he constantly felt tired by mid-morning. Every day he started with orange juice, a large bowl of sweetened cereal, and 2 slices of white toast. He believed he was following a sensible breakfast routine. In fact, he had eaten the same meal for years. What surprised him was learning that his breakfast was likely contributing to his energy crashes. We didn't eliminate breakfast, we simply changed its composition. Several weeks later, he reported more stable energy and fewer cravings before lunch. Small adjustment, significant difference. Were you aware that your breakfast could influence how energetic you feel hours later? But that's only part of the story. The next hidden issue involves fruit juice. Many people are shocked when I mention this. Fruit contains valuable vitamins, minerals, and plant compounds. There's nothing inherently wrong with fruit. The problem is that fruit juice often removes much of the fiber while concentrating the sugars. Without fiber to slow digestion, the sugar enters the bloodstream more rapidly. One glass of juice can contain the sugar from multiple pieces of fruit, yet it doesn't provide the same feeling of fullness. I've had many patients who believed their morning juice was helping their health, only to discover it was contributing to larger blood sugar fluctuations. Have you ever considered how differently your body responds to a whole orange compared to a glass of orange juice? Now let's discuss another common breakfast habit: skipping protein. This is one of the most overlooked mistakes I encounter. Protein helps slow digestion and supports steadier blood sugar levels. Yet many breakfasts contain very little of it. A muffin, a bagel, or a bowl of cereal may provide plenty of carbohydrates but minimal protein. The positive perception is understandable. These foods are quick and convenient. However, the hidden risk is that they may leave you hungry again much sooner. When hunger returns quickly, people often reach for snacks or larger portions later in the day. I once worked with a woman named Susan who struggled with constant morning hunger. By 10 o'clock every day, she felt ravenous. She assumed this was normal aging. But after reviewing her routine, we discovered her breakfast consisted primarily of refined carbohydrates. We discussed adding protein-rich options such as eggs, Greek yogurt, nuts, or other balanced foods that fit her nutritional needs. What happened next surprised even her. Her hunger became more manageable, and she felt satisfied much longer. Has this ever happened to you? The third breakfast issue involves portion size. Here's where many people unintentionally sabotage their goals. They assume that because a food is considered healthy, the quantity doesn't matter. Oatmeal is a good example. Oatmeal can absolutely be part of a healthy breakfast. It contains fiber and valuable nutrients. But large portions, combined with added sugars, syrups, or sweet toppings, can create a very different nutritional picture. This doesn't mean oatmeal is bad. It means balance matters. One of the most important lessons I've learned as a physician is that context often matters more than any single food. Were you aware that portion size can dramatically change how your body responds to the same meal? Let's move on to something many people never consider: what happens after breakfast. Most adults focus entirely on the meal itself. Yet physical activity plays an important role in blood sugar management. The muscles help use glucose for energy. Even a short walk after eating may support healthier blood sugar responses in many individuals. I remember a patient who began taking a 15-minute walk after breakfast every morning. That was the only change she made initially. Over time, she noticed improvements in both her energy levels and blood sugar readings. Not overnight, slowly, consistently. Have you ever tried moving a little after breakfast instead of sitting immediately? Another mistake involves relying on foods marketed as healthy without reading labels. Yogurts, granola bars, breakfast cereals, and flavored oatmeal packets often contain significant amounts of added sugar. The packaging may feature images of fruit, whole grains, or active lifestyles. Yet the nutritional content can tell a different story. This doesn't mean every packaged food is problematic. It simply means informed choices matter. Over the years, I have seen many patients genuinely surprised when they learned how much added sugar was hiding in foods they consumed every morning. Now, I want to share a story that perfectly illustrates today's message. Several years ago, a retired school teacher named Margaret came to my office concerned about her rising blood sugar levels. She felt frustrated because she believed she was eating responsibly. Every morning she had a large glass of juice, a bran muffin, and a low-fat flavored yogurt. On paper, it sounded healthy, but when we looked closer, We found that her breakfast contained a considerable amount of rapidly digesting carbohydrates and added sugars, with relatively little protein. Together, we developed a simple plan. She replaced the juice with whole fruit, added a source of protein, reduced sugary foods, and began taking short walks after breakfast. 6 months later, her blood sugar readings had improved significantly. More importantly, she felt empowered rather than restricted. The lesson wasn't about perfection, it was about awareness. So what practical steps can you take starting tomorrow morning? First, examine your current breakfast honestly. Does it contain mostly carbohydrates, or does it include protein and fiber as well? Second, choose whole foods whenever possible. Third, be mindful of beverages, especially sweetened drinks and fruit juices. Fourth, pay attention to portion sizes. Finally, consider adding a brief walk or light activity after breakfast if your healthcare provider says it's appropriate for you. It's also worth discussing blood sugar with your doctor, especially if you have diabetes, prediabetes, heart disease, excess weight, or a family history of metabolic conditions. Ask whether your current eating habits support your health goals. Ask if additional testing or monitoring might be appropriate. Knowledge creates options. If there is one message I hope you remember from today's discussion, it's this. The first meal of the day often shapes the choices and health responses that follow. Breakfast isn't just about satisfying hunger, it's about setting the tone for your body's energy, metabolism, and blood sugar regulation throughout the day. Today we've explored how refined carbohydrates, sugary drinks, inadequate protein, oversized portions, and hidden sugars can influence blood sugar levels. We've also discussed practical strategies that can help create a more balanced start to the day. The goal isn't fear. The goal is awareness. Because awareness leads to better decisions. And better decisions repeated consistently can have a powerful impact over time. I'd love to hear from you. What does your typical breakfast look like? Have you ever noticed a difference in your energy or hunger levels based on what you eat in the morning? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience may help someone else make a positive change. Thank you for spending this time with me. Stay informed, stay curious, and remember that some of the most important health improvements begin with small decisions made every single morning.